to the Date Night Show podcast with Audrey and Daniel. So today we're going to be talking about social media relationships, and since we had like a meeting earlier to talk about it, we realized that this is quite a broad topic and we can't really cover it within just one episode. Also because we want to like keep our episodes relatively shorter, like 30 minutes. So we decided to split it into like a 2-part series on social media relationships. The first part being couple channels production. So why people choose to post their coupley lives on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, you know? Why do they post this kind of content out there? Why are there creators that are doing couple content? Examples are YouTubers, like vloggers that do couple channels together or family channels together. Another example is us. We're doing a couple podcasts together. So that's the first topic that we want to talk about, like why people are making this kind of content. And the second topic will be on the consumption of this kind of content. Like, why do people search for this kind of stuff? Why are people invested in couple content? Why has it blown up? Why has it become such a big industry within YouTube, within Instagram, even the podcasting community? You know, why has it suddenly become so interesting for everybody? How are people making actual money off of this?
Lots of money,
right? Yeah. So that's the two main subtopics that we're going to be talking about within today's episode and also next week's episode. So make sure you tune in to next week's episode to find out the second part.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be mostly focusing on the production side of couple channels. So for couple channels, I'm actually that's quite a broad term. I'm really referring to like anybody that posts on any kind of social media platform, whether it be podcasting, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. We don't have TikTok.
Shorts. I mean, now there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot. TikTok we don't have in Hong Kong, so we can't really comment on that much. But yeah, TikTok even, Tumblr was popular for couples. I don't know if you know about that, but Pinterest couples. Ooh, there's a lot. Wow, I've just listed 8. How many more? There's a lot of different, like basically anywhere that is a social media platform, you can find couple content.
Reddit,
MySpace, for real. So literally every kind of social media platform, you can find social media couples. So why have people decided to like post their romantic relationships online? I think that's a really interesting question to first dive into. And with that question, I'm going to bring in a little bit of history. Not that I know that much, but I know for a fact that in the past, before there was all this social media, there's always been like an interest in romantic relationships.
Yep.
Like whether it be in the tabloids, magazines, the newspapers, like people are always talking about like celebrity relationships because they're the only people that are really in the limelight that everyone really knows. So you always see like gossip about like who's Selena Gomez dating? Oh, she's dating Justin Bieber. Oh, they're couple goals, you know? Like before social media was even big, people have always been interested in speculating on everybody's relationships, everybody's romantic relationships, specifically people who are already famous. Already kind of famous. You know, like the most random people, like the royal family, like they have nothing to do with telling you how to be in a healthy relationship, but everybody wants to know who they're dating, who's the next person in line, you know, how's their relationship going? Oh, they're fighting. Oh, they're gonna get a divorce. Oh, they're getting married. Oh, they're having kids. Like every milestone is such a huge deal to everyone else when it's really none of our business. You know what I mean? Like one couple's relationship is none of your business, really. But it's always been something that people have been interested in, people have been invested in. So I think from that starting point, a lot of people realized that. And when social media came about, there was like a demand for it, I guess. And people decided, oh, it's a good idea to post me and my boyfriend, me and my girlfriend, you know, me and my partner, me and my husband onto social media because people will be interested in seeing our relationship, our dynamic. People love seeing more than one person on a screen, you know. That's why podcasting is so popular with like 2 people, 3 people. There's really not that many podcasts where it's ran by like one person.
Yeah.
The only one I can think of is Emma Chamberlain's podcast. And she's great at talking by herself, so, you know, she's a queen. But yeah, even people that run it by themselves, they usually have like a person that they're interviewing. So yeah, so you know that like a lot of people like watching a dynamic on camera on screen.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
that's probably why people have gone into this route of creating content with their partners, because A, they think is probably more interesting for people to view, B, there's already demand,
Yes.
and C, it's probably easier to create content with one more person than just by yourself. You know, there's more ideas to do with a couple, like there are a couple challenges, you know, there are boyfriend tags, girlfriend tags. Wow, those really blew up back in the day.
The tags.
Those videos, I'm sure
brings me
everyone,
right back.
yeah,
The
right?
boyfriend tag.
Right? Yeah,
the
just
name
thinking
of
of that.
Yeah.
That really blew up in the 2010s. So those kind of things, I think brought about a lot of interest in creating this kind of couple content.
But now there's just like a whole load of them.
Yeah.
You know, like everywhere.
Now it's just everywhere. But back in the day, for sure, good honorary mentions, which I wrote down here, are, first of all, I'd like to talk about two types. First would be the Tumblr perfect couple goals aesthetic. You know, when you and your boyfriend are like the most attractive people on earth, right? And the second type is like the pranksters, the goofy couples.
Yeah.
Prank couples were really popular back in the day, right? We're talking about like 10 years ago right now. So Tumblr couples that are like picture perfect, and prank couples that are just like funny and they goof around.
Yeah.
Like those two genres were huge,
Very big.
right? And I for one, I think a lot of girls back in the day watched a lot of like Tumblr couples and like perfect couples on YouTube. And I think guys probably watch more prank couples. Right?
Probably.
Yeah. Because when we were talking about this earlier, he was like saying, "Oh, prank versus prank," and I'm like, "Oh my god, that brought back memories." Like,
that's the only YouTube couple I really know.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the difference.
And I barely watched them. Yeah.
So then, if you mention anyone from Tumblr or like those picture perfect couples, I don't even know who they are, to be honest. Maybe I've heard of their names, but yeah. Maybe like as guys in general, definitely not as much. You know, if you talk about Tumblr, I'd say more girls know a lot about Tumblr
it was very
than
popular
guys. I'd say
for girls,
sure,
back in
especially
the
back
day.
then, anyways.
But yeah, for the Tumblr type couples, like one of the first ones that I can think of are probably Alexis Ren and Jay Alvarez. I feel like that's like a name that a lot of people do know. Like
Guys definitely know who Alexis Ren is.
Right, yeah.
Maybe not so much about Jay.
Yeah, but they were a very, very popular couple back then, and they used to post like the most. If you guys don't know, they're like very attractive, both white, both very attractive. They used to like travel around Hawaii, which is where Jay lives. Like, how Tumblr are you? Like to live in Hawaii, and like they would just like go snorkeling, you know, climb up the mountain, like go hiking in the most beautiful scenery, jump into the water, you know, kayak, you know. That's when like the trend of like of guys like filming their girlfriends and like holding their hands.
Oh god,
right?
That's where this started.
I feel like that's where this started, but that
and
was
you got the sunset view.
That was the era.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was the era of like perfect, like picture perfect couples. Like every scene was so perfect. Like now looking back on it, it's very highly edited. Like there's no way that they were having that much fun, because he's probably like, oh, hold that. Actually, no, angle over there. Wait, we need to wait for that person to pass.
What you see on screen and what goes on like in real life behind the scene is very different.
Yeah, it's just a percentage of your life.
Yeah, you don't realize that.
Yeah, but back then people really did not know that, I feel like. And especially when you're young. Like I was very young when I watched them. So they were very like they I think started like a really big trend of like posting beautiful vlogs with your beautiful partner and appealing to like younger audiences that like wanted that for themselves.
It's not so much as like entertaining, for example, like prank versus prank. Every minute of that video is pretty much just for fun, right?
Yeah, like
jokey.
Laughs, to entertain people.
But these videos aren't like necessarily for life. It's more like magazine vibes. So it's a lot of cinematography.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you say like, when I think of couple channels that are like picture perfect, I think of like Malibu, Thailand, Hawaii, or like exotic places that are just beautiful in the scenery themselves. Because like when they're in that place and they themselves are an attractive couple. Like everything about that video is just so beautiful and like
yeah,
you know,
and you want to be there. You want to live that life.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
I think that those kind of videos were appealing to the masses because people wanted to be where they are. They want to live in their shoes. They want to
like
watch that because
aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's like the reason why they posted it was because they got views. Like for sure they got views. They got hella views. Like after Jay and Alexis blew up, everybody else started doing the same thing, and like all these couple channels that were like filming super like nice edited like pretty and cute couple videos, like they blew up like because everybody wanted to see what they were doing, how perfect their lives are, how wow there's so many like beautiful couples, so many couple goals, you know. So that's like, it's like a fantasy, I feel like, because it's not real. It's definitely not real. Like I watched recently Alexis Ren, she was on Call Her Daddy, which is a podcast that I watch. She was on that podcast and she was talking about how toxic her relationship with Jay was. And she was saying how she was very young at that time as well. She was like maybe 18, 19. And it was like maybe her first relationship. And she was very like they had a lot of toxic traits. Like he would get mad at her and just leave the house and not talk to her and stuff like that. Or like or they would just film stuff and pretend to be happy, and then after that they would not talk, and they would sleep in different beds. Like they were sleeping in separate beds for like the longest time.
Right.
But they were filming videos as if they were a couple. You know what I mean? So like by the middle of their relationship, it just became clear that to her, because this is what I took away from her podcast interview. For her, I think she realized that it was more of a business relationship than an actual romantic relationship, you know?
Right.
Like maybe it started off as like, yeah, oh, I really like him, oh, he really likes her, but even she said like they didn't really like click that deep. They were just like attracted to each other, you know?
Like physically speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's completely normal, to be honest.
They're like infatuated with each other, but not so much like connected in a deep level. So once they got like famous, and once they blew up and they realized they should keep posting this content, they couldn't stop because everyone was saying they're couple goals. So they have an inflated ego. They think they're couple goals. They need to like keep up that image, and they need to keep making their money because they were probably making hella money, like for that age.
For that age, no doubt, yeah.
Right? Because they hit like a couple million views, and back then that was a lot.
And let's be honest, it's like not maximum effort. So like it's quite literally just because of the aesthetics that they give off, and I'm sure it's very easy at that age to like be infatuated with that feeling, you know? Yeah.
And how scary is that? Like you're 19, you got into your first like serious relationship, and you're blowing up online, and everyone can see your relationship. Everyone can comment on your relationship. Everyone can be like, oh, actually, Jay isn't that hot, like Alexis can do better, or Alexis isn't that hot, Jay can do better, you know? People are commenting
100%.
those kind of things all the time. You're 19 years old, you just want to like figure out who you are with this person, but behind closed doors, like there's a lot of like verbal abuse going on, you know? You're not even sleeping on the same bed as your partner, so you clearly don't, you're clearly having problems, but on screen you look like couple goals. Like that must be really hard for you mentally, you know?
That's what I always wondered, because if you were commenting on the fact that, you know, some people start these couple channels with the intention of trying to become popular or become rich, that's what I would think is like the two main goals, like fame and money, which is a very big catalyst for you like motivating yourself to like work and become successful.
That's true.
Which to me it's like, is it worth it? Because you know, if you gain fame and money, well, they usually kind of like go together, to be honest, right? You're definitely gonna be in the spotlight, and that means like paparazzis or just fans or just the public are gonna have their eyes on you.
And they're gonna scrutinize
you. Judge you or like all of your movements and the things you do in public with your partner or not is followed. You know, that's why there's always like gossip and drama with these couple channels, like, oh, actually I saw your boyfriend
cheating
in
rumors,
this club, all these rumors and stuff, and I'm like, is that because, you know, if you become famous, you know, you're definitely gonna have like people that are gonna follow you and take pictures of you, and like the privacy life that you have is kind of different. if you become famous. So I'm thinking like if they know that, they're still getting into it.
But back then,
knowing all
I
that.
think back then, not a lot of couples knew that, and they posted that video with pure intentions. They actually didn't think they were gonna blow
And
up.
that's how they started.
Yeah.
Until they started making a lot of money and a lot of
Because I think they were
popularity
they were both models, so they both had other jobs. Like they weren't looking to make extra money. They were just like posting their videos to the internet. You know, like I think back then in YouTube, not a lot of people posted with the aim of
this is
oh,
gonna
I
be my
want
job.
to be rich and famous. Like I'm sure nowadays a lot of people post because they want to be rich and famous, but I would argue there's like probably a third reason, which is they like creating content.
Yeah,
like
I mean that has to be a reason.
I think our podcast is not really made for us to be rich and famous because we're getting 50 plays. You know what I mean? So it's like not. Doesn't have to be about that. Some people genuinely just like making videos.
That's the good side of YouTube to me.
Yeah. A lot of people just like making videos and like filming nice scenery. I think, you know, filming their partner, right? Like when I post on Instagram, I don't necessarily always think I'm posting this photo because I want to get more followers. You know, I just like the photo, right? So it's not always about fame and money, but I definitely see where you're coming from. Like especially these days, I think a lot of couple channels are started with that intention. But back in the day, I don't think they were started with that intention, but it grew into it, which is why it's like scarier.
That's why to me it's like even the occupation of being a paparazzi or a journalist, it's like it's kind of sus because like the only reason why they have that kind of job is like they're technically permitted to just go stalk celebrities.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about in the past, it was exactly just that, right?
Yeah.
They need to have another headline about like who the celebrity's dating or who the celebrity's meeting with, and like in order to get that headline on time, they're stalking you like 24/7. So like, do you have any privacy? Almost not, right? And like, if you're a celebrity, they're just like, oh well, like it comes with it. But like, dude, like everyone, if you're human, right? Everyone deserves to have some privacy. And so like, if you've got paparazzis who are like, oh, but like we're not going to jail. We're not gonna get like scrutinized by the public because we're giving them this gossip. We're giving them what the public wants. And I'm just thinking like, but like, that's really messed up, you know? Like,
it is. Except people like it. People watch
it's
it.
like you can't help but comment on those, but it's like you can't change anything about it because there's clearly a big demand for it. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's getting much better, especially with. I feel like we are kind of going on a tangent, but since we're talking about celebrities, I'm gonna just say with the Free Britney movement. You know the Free Britney movement? Yeah, I think because people are realizing now how much harm paparazzi have actually done to her in the past. People are now starting to call out paparazzi more and more, and there's much less popularity with tabloid magazines. Like nobody really is that invested. Like honestly, like they care more about your mental health. Like there's a lot of like advocacy for mental health, making sure that they're okay, making sure that everyone's happy rather than knowing all the gossip, you know? Like I'm sure people are still invested in their favorite creators and their celebrities, but not to the level of the past.
That's true.
I think,
That's true. It's changing for the better. I agree with that.
And now a lot of couple content, they post their own stuff onto social media so they can post what they want people to see. You know, so there's not as much.
There's no restrictions anymore.
No, there's not that. I wanted to say there's not as much like opportunity for other people to like expose couples because they're the ones that are like if you're posting your own content to social media, there's less chance that a random paparazzi will.
Right, like if a paparazzi takes a photo.
If you have like 100,000 followers on YouTube, no one else really knows you. It's just your community, right?
If a paparazzi took a photo of Brad Pitt walking out of the pizza shop with a girl holding hands, and they're like, oh my god, cheating, biggest news, and it's like it could just be his aunt, it could be his sister, but like they're obviously just gonna frame it a certain way. And so I agree with what you say. Now that there is more opportunity for them to just have their own channel, or like not like puppets from a big management, they can just be completely transparent with the audience.
So I guess that's a good thing that's come out of it. Yeah,
we don't get information from like third parties.
Yeah, and now there's also a lot less like Tumblr style vlogging. Like people are kind of sick of that like beautiful aesthetic. They kind of just like on YouTube I've noticed couple channels are honestly transitioning into just like normal vlogs, like their everyday life. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like not as much geared towards like I need to look perfect. We need to look perfect on camera. Like there still is an aspect of that obviously because everyone posts like their best moments on social media, but there are couples that are more open and honest about like their relationship and what went wrong, or like why they're still together, what they're working on, and stuff like that. You know, yeah, there are definitely people like that now. So I think it's less of a big deal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I talked a lot about Alexis and Jay. Do you want to talk about Jesse and Jen, prank versus prank? Prank channels are really interesting. I
mean, there's a lot to talk about with this, just regarding the dynamic in general. Like, when they broke up, it became a very serious thing.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone tuned into it while it was happening, because it was, like...
Alexis and Jay as well. Breakup videos are very popular as well.
Ooh, yeah, that could be, like, another controversial thing, because then, like, are they doing it strategically? Although, you know, we don't want to, like, undermine them.
Like, even, what's his name? David Dobrik and his girlfriend before?
I don't know who he dated, to be honest.
Liza Koshy.
Yep, no clue.
David and Liza, their breakup video got hella views. So breakup videos are also a trend.
Like, no, okay, like this, I don't know why I find this slightly, like, cringe. Not that it's, like, that cringy, it's just slightly. It's the motive of, like, when couple channels, when they break up, instead of just like, okay, we're gonna go our own way, work on ourselves, they have to make it some kind of content. Yeah. And they'll post a video with, like, the title just being, "This is the end."
Yeah.
Or, like, the last straw.
Or we broke up.
Or, yeah, it's like, what happened? Just whatever.
The truth.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Like, I totally understand, like,
Way too complicated.
whether or not you're doing it to
like,
make money.
No, some people...
You just want to let your audience know.
Yeah,
so
your
everyone's
audience wants
in the picture, you know? Because then obviously people are going to ask, like, oh, where's your girl? Why is she not in the videos? Like, of course they're going to ask. But I'm just saying,
out of the way.
It just slightly, you know, like... It's almost like it becomes a ritual. If you are a couple channel and you do ever break up, you have to post some kind of video to tie the knots.
It really
But, like,
has
do you have to? You know, it's like...
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I understand that it's a good way to transition to becoming like a personal account. Because that's exactly what happened with Prank vs. Prank. They still wanted to make... I mean, they've been doing it for like 10 years, right? Like, they had their channel Prank vs. Prank for like such a long time, right? And I'm sure even after breaking up, you don't want to just delete the channel and like, fuck YouTube and like
you still
go to
want
a 9 to 7 job. Yeah. So that's what Jesse did. I don't think Prank vs. Prank channel is even on YouTube anymore. They might have deleted it, which sucks a lot. But Jesse went ahead and like created his own channel, and he does extremely well. He's very successful. I think close to 10 million subscribers. I'm not so sure about Jen. I personally just kind of like followed Jesse's like style of vlogging. I just enjoyed his style a little bit more. If people who watch him will know, like, he has great cinematography, he has good camera skills. And so like from being prank and like very jokey, all his vlogs now are just like about his life and like just taking challenges.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Doing
like,
exotic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I mean, even back then, I wanted to comment on this because I think prank videos are so dumb. Like, the dumbest. Like, Tumblr videos are bad, but prank videos are worse. Like, if we're comparing these two genres of couple videos, prank videos, you already know, like, half of or more of them are all fake, are all staged. You know? Like, there's no way, like, you would ever prank your partner saying, like, something outrageous and their only reaction is, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Or, like, their reaction is, like, so huge and, like, very fake, basically. Like, there's a lot of stage prank videos, not even within couples, but any prank videos, they were very fake. And I think what Tumblr videos and prank videos have in common, I'm just gonna call them Tumblr videos, is the fakeness of these two. They're not they were really popular back then because they're like content, you know. It's something that people didn't know. Some people thought it was real, you know. Some people thought that's actually how Alexis Ren lives her daily life with Jay. Like, they actually have the best life. And some people thought, wow, prank versus prank, they're actually a cute couple because they get over all these pranks and they can still love each other. You know? But in reality, now we've realized a lot of these are fake, a lot of these are staged, they're edited, they're made to appeal to a certain type of audience. And so nowadays, these couple channels have evolved into a lot more authentic type of content. Why is podcasting so popular? It's because people like to hear your most authentic thoughts, your most like you know, like real stuff. They don't want like 5-minute videos of you pranking your boyfriend anymore. They're sick of that, you know? So that's how YouTube has evolved within the years, and so has couple channels in that regard.
That's another thing,
right?
Because okay, I mean, when I did watch the video of like "This is the end, full stop," that Prank vs. Prank released, I've always wondered, because I can't exactly remember what Jesse and Jen said in their own videos, but it was about their lifestyle, like how it became really toxic after a long time of like their relationship wasn't just was just becoming a business relationship, and it was just like,
so
oh, what's gonna be our
Alexis,
next prank, and then they, you know, it's the whole controversy of like, is this even real? Like, is the pranks we do even authentic anymore? You know, maybe for them, I'm quite sure, in fact, that it did start off quite genuinely. You know, like they genuinely enjoyed goofing around and playing around with each other. You know, like, oh, like, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna cut her hair and pretend it's like I actually cut her. Like, those are pretty innocent pranks, and nothing too like crazy. And I can believe some of the reaction, but it's just like over time, the demand just kind of keeps getting higher, right? You
want
get
to
more
see
famous.
more interesting content,
and people don't want to see the same pranks, so you always have to think like outside of the box. And another thing was like, for me as a consumer, although I was much younger while I watched Prank versus Prank, I never watched it when I was an adult. Some of those pranks were pretty bad. Not bad as in like it was boring, but it was bad as in like, but like, would you really do that to your girlfriend slash boyfriend? Like, that seems a bit extreme, just to get views.
Just to get views.
And I'll think like, okay, after that video's done, well, it's still uploaded. That means like they've together collaboratively edited and decided, you know, yeah, we're gonna post this. So in my thought, I'm like, okay, some of those really bad pranks, for example, let's say Jessie did something to Jen really kind of nasty, and I'd be like, damn, like behind the camera, I think that, you know, personally, I'd be thinking like, wouldn't they fight? Wouldn't they argue? Wouldn't they just be like, you know, fuck this relationship? But it's like, it was never like that, and they did that for like a couple more years, and I'm like, that.
So a lot of them are probably staged.
Yeah, because surely you can't always be like, and plus, like, okay, let's say we're dating, and we have a prank channel. Then like, if I wake up in the morning, and I send something off, like what? So like your whole relationship is just like you're on edge. Like, you just like, oh, is he gonna prank me? Is she gonna prank me right now?
Exactly.
It's like, yo, like, you're like, that's too tense.
You can't live like a proper.
You can't breathe and just like chill.
It's either like all their pranks are real and they're like always on edge with each other, or all of them are staged and they plan it ahead and they're like, oh, today I'm gonna pour an ice bucket of water over your head, okay? At 4 p.m. Get ready for that. Yeah. And then you're ready.
They get ready together and like they set up their like cameras and lighting, everything needs to be perfect.
Exactly, right? Yeah,
and
so
it's like,
staged.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, let's be real.
What is the point of that?
Those prank videos, the quality was pretty good. You know, there was never a point where like, the camera was like half like covering something.
Yeah, you can always see them.
I could always see like what was going down.
Exactly.
And I'd just be thinking like, okay, even if
like,
they're really good actors, that can't be great on their relationship. It must be hurting that foundation. One way or another. And it did, clearly. Yeah, clearly. Because they broke up and
now there's barely any prank channels.
And how successful were they at their peak? So for them to make such a decision of like, yeah, this is actually, you know, taking a toll on us.
Alexis and Jay as well. So it's
says
the same
a lot
thing.
About couple channels.
Same thing, but like different.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do want to talk about, because we talk about like staging, like a lot of like fakeness in relationships. But to this day, like, I'm sure it's gotten better, but it's still not great. If anything, creators are more aware of how much money they're able to make in a relationship. So they can even go out of their way to fake a relationship, get views, nobody gets hurt.
Exactly.
You know, but you are getting money, you're getting fame. Like, a great example of that is Tana and Jake. Tana Mojo, Jake Paul, I'm sure everybody knows them. They had a whole ass fake wedding, and they made millions off of that wedding.
To me, it's just like, how are people even buying into this bullshit? Like, no offense, but
to
like,
this day.
Like, just hearing the names just give me goosebumps. Because then, like, to me, okay, not a big fan of Jake and Tana at all.
I actually really like Tana Mojo. Like,
yeah, I mean,
she's great. I love her story times, but I understand she's controversial. Like, I think she has definitely some problematic pasts, but I do enjoy watching her content. I like listening to her podcast. Her podcast is great. I love it. But I kind of understand like why Tana and Jake became such a huge like controversial topic and why people still bought into it. Because I think they're both really clever. They're both really good business people.
That's what I was gonna say actually. I think Jake.
Like, you probably don't watch them properly, but I actually watched Tana, and I believed that their relationship was real.
Oh.
Until she said it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah. I did believe it was real. And I'm 22. You know what I mean?
Right.
There were people that were like, saying, their relationship is probably not real. I thought to a certain extent it's not real. Like, probably a lot of their stuff, like the wedding, was fake. I kind of knew that the wedding was fake. Yeah. But I thought the relationship, and it was real. It was real for a while. They were actually together. And Tana, like on her end, said that she did love Jake, but Jake did not love her.
Okay.
So she was in a relationship that she kind of agreed, like she was in a business couple relationship that she kind of agreed to because they both decided, oh, we should like take this further, because like I think it started with like her posting a photo of her and Jake at like in bed or something, and they were just hanging out, and then everybody like started like commenting. It blew up, you know, basically, and like she was like, oh, we should capitalize off of this, you know, they can make money off of this, they can make merch. They made merch, you know, Jana merch. And so like I think it started off as like she agreed to be in this business relationship with him because they both knew how much their channels can both grow independently from this relationship. And it really did. Like their channels blew up, their videos together blew up, and Jake got way more new subscribers because he used to only have like really young fans. Tana has a little bit older fans like me. And I think like Tana brought a new light on Jake. Like she showed that he can be normal sometimes. He's not always crazy. You know, that's what she like brought for him, and what he brought for her was like a bunch of children fans, and so she could make more money because you make hella money off of kids, right, on YouTube. So they both mutually benefited, but at the same time, Tana actually fell in love with Jake, and Jake did not love Tana. And he was still like fucking around with a lot of other girls, and she knew it because they never really agreed to be in like a monogamous relationship.
Right.
And so they were dating, but it was very toxic because she could not express to him that she actually wanted a real relationship, and he was just thinking it's a business relationship. Like sure, like they go on dates sometimes, they have sex, whatever, but he is still not that invested. Like he's hanging out.
It's not official, so
yeah. He's like in his head he just thinks, oh, most of this relationship is for the money, and she's thinking this relationship is great for my channel, but all at the same time I really do like him. You know, so that's another danger. Like how do you navigate that? Like as Tana, I genuinely do feel bad for her a lot because she probably was just scared to like voice out like, hey, actually this does mean more than the money for me. Like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's true.
So you know, like that's also a bit scary. Like getting into like a couple relationship where it's mostly for money and views. That can be really like.
I wouldn't
that could go
expect
really
that
bad.
To be like emotionally good for your well-being. You
Definitely
know what I mean? And see, it takes a toll, and like it doesn't really last. You know, I don't think it's like worth like messing with your emotions to try and make money. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I think you know with the topic of Jake Paul. Because I don't know too much about Tana Mojo.
Yeah.
If that's even her name. The only reason why I said I'm not a big fan of both of them is because the only time I heard about Tana was about TanaCon or something, and it didn't seem great at all. So you know that was like I'm not even gonna bother.
That's
you
a
know?
huge fuck up.
But at least for Jake, he was in the spotlight, especially like the mainstream spotlight for quite a while, right? But to me, the kind of persona he gives off, and you mentioned that what Tana brought out of Jake was like his normal side, or like at least he can be a boyfriend too. Like he's not always fucking crazy. And like in his own vlogs, he tends to be quite crazy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so did Logan at some point. I'm sure now he's a little different.
Yeah.
But what I think of Jake and like these type of vloggers who tend to get into it with the mind of business being the priority is like it doesn't last. There's no consistency to it. Like it crashes and burns. Like look at Jake Paul making like literally like millions of subscribers like in months, right? Breaking records technically.
Yeah.
But like what happened? Did it like go up that scale? I don't think so. You know, like, and what is he doing now? Kind of like his brother, he's jumping into the fucking UFC, MMA. Like he's turning to like a different industry because now he realizes the Disney shit or like whatever fucking roast shit he used to do on YouTube is not as popular, or is like And to me personally, it's like how can you keep up that persona? I want to believe that Jake in real life is not like an actual like crazy person.
Yeah, right.
And he really does seem literally crazy. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, why is he popular? Why is he famous? Like he's not a good influence.
Yeah.
And I really hope that in real life he isn't like that. But then it's like you see his publicity stunts that he does in the UFC, and I get he's smart in the sense that he knows how to make money off of publicity. He really does a good job of like making himself look like an ass or like as a villain.
Like any attention is good.
But it's like
for him.
How disrespectful can you be to other people? It's not you can't survive in that industry for that long when you're chatting shit about like literally everyone. He sits down on an interview and talks about UFC is like the next fighter he's gonna fight, and he talks about how he can beat up like Conor McGregor. And when the interviewer asks him about questions of like, oh, what do you think of Ali? What do you think of Mike Tyson? All these legendary boxers, right? There's no doubt that he's gonna get his ass fucking beat by Mike Tyson, and he's just sitting there as if like it doesn't faze him at all.
Like, why are you building your career off of like
people hating on you?
Yeah, people hating on you basically.
Clearly, once you get into the cycle of like everything's like, for example, couple channels, when you get into the cycle of like, okay, content, oh my god, people actually like our content, let's do more extravagant stuff and let's do more crazy things to entertain our like public.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It burns you out clearly.
Yeah.
And you could literally see they becoming more of a toxic person, because then they're so infatuated with this like money and this fame that they're getting.
Yeah.
It just becomes more like ridiculous.
And
I'm just like, why are they getting more popular rather than the other way around?
Another type of channel that I wanted to talk about is like family channels. Ace Family is so popular, 20 million subscribers. For them, I don't really know if their relationship is real or fake. I know for a fact that Austin cheats a lot on Catherine. That's the mom and the dad. Austin cheats a lot on Catherine. There's a lot of proof of that. But other than that, like, it seems like they're still willing to stay in a relationship. So maybe they're in an open relationship. Can't really comment on that. But what I do know about that family is they're very exploitative. Very exploitative. Like, they, not only to their fans, to their children, right? Their poor kids are like literally 3 years old and they're like on camera all the time, always on camera. And like I've seen clips of them trying to like redo intros, and like Austin gets pissed and he's like, fuck this, okay, let's go again. And he's like swearing in front of his kids, and like his kids are just there like waiting, and it's like, again, okay, hi Ace Family, and it's like, no, we have to go again, okay. And they already know, they're conditioned into like living this way, and they don't know anything better. They don't know how like a normal childhood would ever be.
How do you learn familial love?
Yeah.
If everything's rehearsed in the house.
And everything's for money, and your parents are spending your money, because as a kid, like the 2 kids that they have are bringing in so much money for the family. Like, do you think they would be that popular without their kids? No.
Of course not. Yeah, it's a family channel, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So family channels are very gross to me.
So
like,
what?
I really don't like the idea of, like, I understand posting your kid,
No, they can be cute. Yeah.
But like anything more than that, like your kid is in like 80% of your video, that's like way too much. Like, they're talking, they're walking around, they're basically performing. Because
then
they know what camera's on them.
Austin, the husband. That's it. It's his job, right?
Yeah.
So of course, like,
it's all of their jobs basically. The kids are working.
Terrible.
They're basically paid actors, but they're not paid. You know what I mean?
Because what I don't understand
is there's no regulation in YouTube to pay your kids. Because in Disney, there's like a agreement that you have to sign as a parent that you will put like however much percentage of your kids' income into savings for your kids that you cannot access. So in Hollywood, there's like these kind of regulations for child actors, but on YouTube, there's none of that. And also in Hollywood, there's like, if you're there for more than 8 hours, then there has to be a teacher on site. If you can't be working consecutively for more than 2 hours, like 2 hours you have to get a break or some shit like that. There's like these kind of regulations that like keeps kids from overworking and always being on set and not getting education. Like, there are these regulations and money, protecting their money, But in family channels, there's none of these regulations. How can you regulate these? Like,
YouTube, for example,
Yeah, like, and the parents, like, sure, you can say they love them and stuff like that, but how do you know they have the best interest when all they're seeing is the dollar bills? They're like, the money is coming in, the views are coming in, we gotta keep doing this.
This is when those 3-year-old children grow up and they're mature enough to think for themselves. They'll start talking like online about how much like they hated their past and how much like their parents exploited them.
There's already a lot of child actors that have come out from the past, such as Alison Stoner. She made a great video about the toddler actor to train wreck pipeline, because she has been I don't know if you know Alison Stoner.
No.
She's an actor and she's been acting in Disney growing up. She was in Camp Rock.
Okay.
She was in Sweet Love with Zach and Cody.
Okay.
Those kind of shows, and then she did a bunch of stuff, and then now she's like a grown adult, right? She's like 24, 28, I don't know how old she is, but she's an adult, and she made a video on YouTube about how abusive being in Hollywood and being a child actor is, and why are all these child actors turning into train wrecks, like air quote train wrecks, because you're growing up and you're handling all the fame, right? You don't know what that means. That's why a lot of people go to drugs. They go into like Britney shaved her head. You know, like there's tons of these examples, and people don't do anything about it. And Allison made a great video about that, and it's true. And so even within Hollywood, with all these regulations in place already, it's still not enough. So imagine like the future of these kids from family channels, because we saw it's still relatively new. Family channels, you haven't really seen the kids grow up, and no one's really come out about their stories yet, but I feel like in the future, in 10-20 years, we will come to see the effects of it, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's definitely not going to be good, and why should we wait that long to like change it? Like YouTube needs to get on it.
We already have concrete examples, we just don't have enough. But like people won't change something about something until there's like enough confirmation, which is bad, because I think Justin Bieber's a great example. I think a lot of people misunderstood Justin Bieber's intentions when he was during that age where he was becoming more of like young adult, and that during that phase he was kind of reckless, like driving or whatever. Like there was some like drama about him, right? But I never understood that.
He's been famous since he was 13. Of course he's gonna go through that.
He's never left the spotlight ever since he debuted, basically, because he became so successful. But like, I don't think he ever had like really bad intentions.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine the kind of like mental like stability you have to go through.
Yeah. Now Elle in Ace Family, she's like the oldest daughter. She has like 3 million followers on Instagram. Elle, she's 3 years old. She has 3 million followers. Like her, how many years she's been alive? She has the same amount in millions of fans. Like what? Like how messed up is that? But we should wrap this episode up. I think that's pretty much it for the production side of couple channels. Next week we're going to talk about the consumption side. Why people view this kind of content, why it's so popular, you know, why do creators keep making it, like who watches it, and why do we enjoy it?
Okay. Great.
So tune in next week to find out more. Make sure you are following if you're on Instagram. Make sure you are subscribed on our YouTube channel, and make sure you are following if you're listening on Spotify. Also, we might start posting every Sunday instead, because we film every Friday, so it might be hard to post on Saturday. So that might be our new schedule. But yeah, check for updates on our Instagram. Our Instagram is going to be the most updated for sure. So see you guys next week. Thanks for listening and tuning in.
See you guys next week.
Good night.
Bye.